Well, hello and welcome to the Alpha Anywhere Demo and Q&A webcast. My name is Dave McCormick. I'm VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software, and I'm pleased to be joined by Dion McCormick, no relation, who is our lead solutions engineer. Today, Dion will be giving a demonstration at the beginning. I believe he's going into more stuff, I think, with business analytics and business intelligence. But he's here also to answer your questions. So please, if you have any Alpha Anywhere questions at all, please go ahead and type them into the questions box of the GoToWebinar control panel, and we will be happy to get to them. So let's get started. Hello, Dion. Are you there?
Why, yes, I am. Hey, everybody.
Excellent.
Welcome.
Can I make you the presenter?
There we go. Let me go show my screen and we're going.
There we go.
Excellent. Outstanding. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your schedule to join us. We have another fun demonstration to put in today. Really just we're continuing our discussion around business intelligence tools and linking them in. We saw a really good demonstration last week from one of our outstanding independent developers. And there's just lots and lots of areas. It's one thing to build tools to collect data, but then once you've built those tools to collect it, people often want to use that information. And one of the most effective ways to do that is through business intelligence tools. So I want to show a demonstration of that today. But before that, a couple quick announcements. As Dave said, we're here to answer your questions. Your questions. You are the boss, but we can't help you until you help us. And the way you help us, put questions into the questions box of the GoToWebinar control panel. Dave will be eagerly monitoring that and filtering out all the nasty words and things like that and just giving me the ones that make sense. And also,
Most of them anyway. Yeah.
I know you've been very kind, Dave. I really appreciate that, kind of like, be that call screener, caller number 5. Yeah, you're a whack job. So the other aspect is, remember, you can always email us at guides, GUIDES, @alphasoftware.com. And that is our way for you to get in touch with us ahead of time. And, you can present questions so we can prepare. Always good to have a little more preparedness in these kind of events. Sorry, excuse me. So with that, let's go ahead and do a couple other quick announcements. Crazy, mid-September, kids are in school. I still have kids, so we've gotten into the groove now. Things are kind of back to normal. Go to work, you got a full day of work available. It's great, getting a lot more stuff done, to be honest, at this point in time. But also, that means DevCon, dun, dun, dun. We're talking about next month, just around the corner, Dave, isn't it?
It is, and in fact, we have sold out our block of rooms for the hotel. So there are still some rooms available, but they're available, unfortunately, at regular price. However, there are still some seats left in both the training session and in the regular sessions for Alpha DevCon. And so if you want to connect with us, we can help set you up and find you help you find your accommodations and so on. And it's going to be really a great session. I was just looking forward to it. We actually have a huge number of people for training this year, which is really, really pleasing.
That is.
Because it's going to be a really great team. Besides Dion, who is always phenomenal, but we will actually have Selwyn Rabins as well, who, as most of you know, is our founder and one of our chief technical officers, along with Dan Bricklin. But Selwyn will be there. I'll be there. Sarah will be there, and we have a really great thing that we're putting together for you, especially on that Friday, the last.
Oh, it's awesome. So we're actually bringing some smart people versus just throwing me in front of people.
I don't know about that,
really
but
stepping it up.
Yeah.
And again, for anybody out there, hopefully you haven't been seriously affected by the hurricane. And if you have, we hope you kind of recover quickly and you got your power back on and things are going okay, because I know that was a big one. That was crazy seeing all that stuff. So I hope everybody's safe and sound. And actually, probably the people who are most affected wouldn't even be on this webinar. So I don't know why I'm saying that, but anyway. We do hope you're doing okay and you're safe and sound.
There's diehard fans, stranded in their attic, but hey, they still have internet connectivity.
Yeah, they got their phone up, and they're like, are they doing it on what? Are they doing it on like the old shortwave radio? We have a shortwave, simulcast that goes out too. You have to kind of use the theater of the mind. So from that standpoint, but
fantastic.
Get over to Alpha Software and sign up for DevCon. Even though the rooms are somewhat limited, but they're still available. The pricing is really good in the Orlando space, really good deals, and we look forward to everybody coming and joining with us. There's an amazing amount of sessions, both app deconstruction, but also the training and stuff there. So join us.
One last thing.
Oh, yes, please.
That, of course, Chris Martin, our other solutions engineer,
yes.
we totally forgot to mention him. One of our favorite, talked about, requested mentors and mentees will be there as well, and he'll be there as part of the Ask the Doctor session, and he'll also be there during training. So, really, if you're on the fence about going to training or the DevCon, I really highly recommend coming down. We've got a great crowd this year.
Yeah, and your time is well spent with Chris. I mean, he actually, for the last 3 months, we basically shut him into a room, locked him, and gave him some tasks to do, some mentoring tasks and some other hardcore development tasks. And so he's been really spending a huge amount of time deep in terms of mobile development. So in terms of mobile development, he has a mad level of sort of capabilities and knowledge now that has just ramped even more than, he was always extremely good, but now it's like a whole other level. So he'll be there available. So if you have mobile development questions, how to get your stuff in the App Store, how to structure it so it works great offline, all these kind of things, Chris is going to be available, and he is the guy who really knows it at a deep level. He's got all the whip marks on his back now that he can share all that knowledge he's gained. So make sure to spend time with him if you do come. And if you're not coming, come and spend time with him. Be great. Okay. So other than that, we have our Transform Tuesdays. I don't think there was one this week, but if you're interested in Transform, make sure to sign up for that. And also we have lots of really cool stuff coming down the road on Transform a little later this year, and we're going to be announcing a lot of really neat stuff at DevCon that will take the Transform platform from where it is now, which is amazing, but to a whole different level. I mean, a quantum leap difference in terms of capabilities, functionality, and what you can do with it. And what we're finding out too is a lot of work has been done in terms of how you tie Transform into the overall ecosystem, how you move it to business intelligence, how you put it into Alpha Anywhere, how do you leverage it, how do you do dashboards with it, how do you do dispatch with it, and a lot of that will be talked about at DevCon. And we're seeing all that come together. It's a really neat sort of ecosystem that's being built and coming across each other. And we're going to be sharing a lot. So a lot of cool stuff. And again, Transform Tuesdays, a lot of information on that. So please join us there. So we want to continue our discussion about business intelligence. I want to do a demonstration today. And we have a guest. I'm not sure if he is actually able to, I think he's been having a hard time getting on the
well, actually, I do see. Hang on a second.
Hey, there's it. Oh, yeah, he's probably there somewhere.
Move him over.
I know. Remember the secret password.
The secret password.
API
Hello,
key.
Eric. I see that you're on.
There it is.
But Eric, are you there?
Did he have the API
Actually,
key?
I can unmute him.
There it is.
Hello, Eric. Are you there?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we sure can.
Perfect. I apologize. The audio pin didn't work correctly the first time, so I apologize for the delay.
Go to webinar. Problem. It's always fun, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So excellent. Yeah, so go ahead.
Go ahead.
So our guest is Eric. He's with ClicData, and I've used this as the sample to show you how you can integrate the business intelligence tools there. And Eric is going to be available for any kind of questions you might have that are beyond my scope, my capability. So really appreciate you joining it. Often people are like, hey, Eric, who is this guy? What does he look like? I mean, you want to kind of put a face with there. So I was able to find a really cool picture of him on the internet, on LinkedIn, I'm pretty sure, and was able to show this. So this is what Eric looks like when he's doing his day-to-day work over at ClicData. And although, is that Dave? Is that yours? I get them mixed up between the two. Not sure. Who wants to claim that? Yeah. Anyway, so what I'm going to show today, and Eric's available for questions and stuff along the deeper level, is that, last time I showed kind of how ClicData can be connected through our API to Transform. We were really showing how you could take Transform and use ClicData. But I had a number of questions that came after. It's like, great, okay, if I'm just using Transform, but a bulk of our people are still Alpha Anywhere development environment people. So what I wanted to really focus on today is that, hey, you could also use this as an example within Alpha Anywhere and with the tabbedUI to display dashboard information within your Alpha application, which is really cool because it opens up a lot, and we'll talk a little bit more about the advantages of going down this road. Obviously, Alpha has an enormous amount of capabilities in terms of our reporting and our JavaScript charts. They're awesome, but sometimes you need something a little bit more sort of industrial strength, or more importantly, maybe you need to access other data sources and things like that, and it's faster just to do it through a BI tool than to build it yourself. So there's different ways to approach it. So we like to show these pieces here. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and jump into my development environment here, and I've created a new Alpha application. And for people who are new to Alpha here, I'm in our Alpha application development environment, and you're going to see I have a real simple application in this case. It's just a single tabbed UI, and I'm sure most of our developers who are with us have used tabbed UIs before. Now, and is a nice tool. So I'm going to come back to that in a moment, but I kind of wanted to show you what I built on the transform or on the ClicData tool. So ClicData is an online business intelligence tool. It's managed through the web. The important aspects of it is, first, you have data connectors. And if you haven't seen our webinar, it's about a month ago, we did a webinar that kind of showed how to set this up. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it here, but I'm able to actually go in and connect my I'm able to connect ClicData directly to different data sources. Now, I've been focusing on web APIs. So for instance, in our case, I had an oil form that was in Transform. We used our web API to connect there. I also created a web API in Alpha Anywhere so that you could grab that data through a web API. But important is that you're not limited to just an API. So if I want to create a new one, you're going to see, and this is again one of the reasons I kind of want to explain this, is that you can see that there are already an enormous amount of existing connectors that already exist in ClicData. So things like Basecamp, which is a project management, Facebook, FreshBooks, Box, the normal guys like Google Sheets, Google Drive, etc. But a lot of systems we don't even deal with, that, like Instagram. I haven't had anybody ask on that yet. But even like more horsepower ones like NetSuite. So one thing I see people is that they need to combine data from not only their Alpha solutions and maybe the databases they built with Alpha, but also these other industrial strength systems. And this is a good way to do it. Now, obviously, you could use Alpha as a web API to bring that data in, but it's a matter of, is it easy to do and how long does it take? There's some balances and other pieces there. And the ClicData folks have spent all the time to put together these integrators, so you don't have to. You can basically double click and start one and off the races. And it's got a very simple. So like if you just want to connect to a MySQL one, much like our connection strings, you just put in the server, the database, your credentials, authentication, and then it does all the connection and grabs it from there. So that that is nice because then you can have multiple different sources of data and match them together. So I created one here called customers, and customers in my case calls Alpha and then goes through our new API layer, which we've created. Basically, it calls a web API on my Alpha server to get data out of a database. Now, I could go directly to the database, but there's security and other implications, and I really wanted to show how you could use our web API. But once it's here, it's sort of tabular, so it's easy to understand. And that's another advantage of these BI tools, is that with something like ClicData, you can kind of get all this set up, and then you can hand it off to a business analyst or a expert, and they can build the dashboards themselves. So let's go ahead and go in and look at one of our dashboards here. So first I connected my data, and now I'm going to go ahead and I've created a very simple dashboard. And let me go ahead and edit this dashboard to make you, so I'm in the ClicData environment, and you can see you have all the different dashboard elements, charts, selectors, indicators, and gauges, which are nice for KPIs, even mapping and things like that. And so what I did is I created a very simple, if you'll look at this, it's a simple table. And actually, you know what? I'll show you how I did it real quick. Because basically I said, okay, I want to have, let's say I want to have a table. So I just grab a table, I select this. First thing it asks me is, okay, I'm in my builder. So this kind of feels like Alpha, doesn't it? It's like genies and things like that. I like there's a very clean kind of thing. So I'm connecting to customers. I can say in my columns, I want, let's give it the company name, the city, and the sales year to date. So you can see it's drag and drop. And once you click that, save it into the system, boom, it's now on your dashboard. And now I can take that dashboard piece, I can then add some other values and do other things along those lines for here. So I'm going to get rid of that because I don't need that. So I've created this dashboard. Now, one of the cool things about the dashboards is right now you'll notice it's not really showing data right here, is that when you create a dashboard, and this is the real trick to how I'm getting it to work today, is you can go to the settings for the dashboard. And in the settings, you can go in and set like the colors, the schemes, a whole bunch of other cool things like that. But they have a function called live link. So I'm going to click this button right here. And you'll see when I enable live link, it basically gives me a URL to this dashboard. And it's a public URL. And depending on the plan you have, you can lock it down with passwords and other pieces there. But basically, you'll see here is my URL to access this dashboard. So that's the important thing is once I do all my work in here to build my dashboard, and then once I've built my dashboard, I've got it good to go, I grab this link right here. Okay, so one other thing that's important about this dashboard and kind of show you how cool this is that when I created this dashboard, you'll notice that the values right now are not really showing like their names. And the reason why is when I created this table here and this dashboard, I basically said, let's set up a filter and pass in a country code. So what will happen is I can then have one dashboard and pass in parameters that will modify how the dashboard works, which is really powerful because then you don't have to create like 1,000 dashboards. You can create a couple dashboards with have a couple parameters that go into it. And the way that works is basically when I have my live link, I can add it in as a parameter. So maybe a little in the weeds there, but I just wanted to show you I have a dashboard I've created. It has a link, a URL, and also I can pass in parameters to make it work the way I want to. So let's go back into alpha. So let's go ahead and do a live preview. So I'm going to preview this bad boy. So now you notice we're in a plain vanilla API here. Oops, let me do some, let me set my design as off. Wait a second. Go to tabbedUI properties and let's go to alpha here. Come on. There we go. Let's set it to alpha directly. I was playing with it earlier today. That's why I broke it, of course. Okay, looks a little nicer here. So on the left, you got, and by the way, this can now be an expanding menu, which is very, very cool. But this is just a button list. And you can see I have a series of buttons here, and each of these buttons connect to a URL. So if I click Alpha Software, you'll notice it's just going to open up in here in a moment, the Alpha Software. Does it do it? Come on, let's go there. There we go. It's just taking a moment here. So you'll notice now, here's my dashboard. When I clicked on this button here, it opened up my dashboard. And remember, my dashboard looked like basically a set of columns with the information. And you'll notice in this case, oh, these are my French companies that are available. And so all the capabilities of the ClicData dashboard are embedded in here, including this header where I can print it, I can forward it, I can download it, I can do other things along those lines. Now notice over here on the left, I have ClicData list for France. I'm going to click ClicData list for Germany. Now you'll notice I opened up a new tab, and now notice this dashboard has German information, not French information. So the neat thing is this is the same dashboard, I just gave it different parameters. So it's a very easy concept. It's basically in my design here, in my tabbedUI controls, I have a series of buttons. And those buttons are using what's called the external web page. So I'm going to click on this button right here, which is ClicData List France. And let me go ahead and expand this over here. And you'll see that I put in here that URL. So what I did is I went into ClicData, I grabbed my dashboard live linked URL. Let me go ahead and grab that real quick. So I'll go to my live linked. I copy this dashboard URL to my clipboard. I go back into Alpha. I paste it here, but you'll notice one thing I did, and this may be hard for people to see, and I apologize, but I put a parameter there in that says country is equal to France. So that means when it launches that dashboard, it passes in that parameter, and then the dashboard will automatically configure itself. Did the same thing for Germany, where now I use that same URL, but in my case, I used country equals Germany. And that's a very simplistic, but you could have it different organizations, different stuff. By the way, this URL could be dynamically built. There's a lot of really fun things you can do within the tool. And to show you some of the power here, let me go back into live preview. I'm not limited to just kind of lists. Let me show you a little nicer dashboard I put together for my demonstration today. So you'll notice we have standard just, plain vanilla lists. You could have done this with a grid or with a list detail view, those kind of pieces here. But let's say you want to do something a little more interesting. So now I'm going to do a dashboard that looks like this. So you'll notice that I have a dashboard that's showing the sales activity for France. By the way, this is fixed. I wasn't able to get it working on time, but it would show the location of the different cities, which didn't get fixed. So just pretend that has all the right stuff. And that was more me than ClicData. I just didn't have time to fix it. But you'll notice that it's showing the different cities in France and showing the different revenue for those cities on a sales year to date. But I also presented it in what's called a heat map, meaning that it's showing you, oh, relatively how big are the values here. And that's another reason I like business intelligence tools, is that you can create very cool visuals that are really neat looking and provide different types of information that may be a little harder to do in alpha. You can do things, pretty straightforward charts and stuff there, but to do something like this may take a little extra work. This is a little faster. Now let me go ahead and click over here. I'm going to click, this is the same URL, but I'm going to pass in my Germany, and you'll notice it's going to present my my dashboard instead of in, oops, did I bust that? Let's see here, might just be a lag on here. It would show Germany data versus France. That's what I get for not testing. Did I break it? Let's see, make sure I didn't break it here. Yeah, that looks right. Country equals Germany. Just must be running a little slow. So let me go back in here and do that here. So it's very easy for me to create, there you go, there's Germany. Let me go France there. There we go, France is up there. So notice I can have now use the power of alpha, meaning tying it together into an integrated system. In here, I could have other lists. I could have actually the data generation. I could have my mobile apps. I could do all the other transactional things, but then I can quickly bolt on this tool to be able to show people. And it's pretty neat. You can click on things. They're dynamic. It looks sharp. And you can expand this to a larger space to show more space. It's really cool. I noticed the click on it. And then all these things can be enabled with like click events. So if I wanted to drill down, I could link this by doing a click to another dashboard, which would maybe drive and show other data about that particular information there. Very fast, very easy to put it for. Now, a couple other notes, and I'm going to bring Eric on in a moment, is that you'll notice that up here we have this bar. So depending on how you've worked with ClicData, I have just the basic account. It puts this header here, and then you have these items that are associated with it. And those are nice. I can print this as a PDF. I can email it. I can download it. I can do it like, let's go ahead and just do that. Let's do it in there. I'm clicking the download key here. So I'm going to do my download, and I'll click next, and it's grabbing that and downloading it to my system, and it'll be down in a few moments, I hope, within this system here. But what you can do is you'll notice it's showing my, when I set this up originally a long time ago, my company name at that time, GKR, Giant Killer Robot, did that pieces there. Oh, it's because I'm running in here. No, it's because I'm in, come on. Oh, I'm in live preview in this download. I'm too many levels deep on that. Okay. So we'll have to come back on that in a minute. Oh, so much. I should run that through there. Sorry, Eric. Sorry, Dave there. So we'll do that from that standpoint. Well, we'll get out of that in a moment here. So the, come on, let's go. And, oh, so much for a demo there. But the power is they've got what you want to do here, and I'll go ahead and just get out of alpha and go back in. And so if you want to remove that, they have different plans where what you can do is you can remove that titling there, and it would allow you to then essentially white label the product so that they don't even know that it's a third-party system serving up this information. There would really be very little way for anybody who's using your system. So you can, Eric can speak a little bit more about it, but they have programs that allow you to then take these dashboards, and instead of being branded, you can unbrand them, and therefore you could use them with multiple companies through your company and do other things like that, and be able to perform very powerful things with ClicData. Eric, do you want to mention that, or speak to that a little bit, how you guys handle that aspect?
Yes, absolutely, and I appreciate it. So basically, when you pick the white label feature or OEM, you're able to remove all that is ClicData to make it look and branded as your own company, whether it's the color scheme, the fonts, everything else, et cetera, and remove everything that is ClicData. A lot of our consultants use it. It makes their product look very, very professional and a bit more sticky because they're given a value add to whether it's internal or client-facing. It looks like their own proprietary software. So our clients love it, and it's something that we had drummed up a couple of years ago. Nobody else in the BI industry was doing that, but because of all of our IT background and channel partners, et cetera, it's something very, very important to all of our clients because although they love and respect what ClicData does, if they can make it look like their own software without spending a couple $100,000 or $1 million to go build everything out and give everything they can internally and externally to their clients and make it look like their own, it's very, very powerful.
Awesome. And that's one of the reasons I was originally attracted was that, not only is it extremely powerful, a lot of flexibility, but beyond that, the other aspect was for certain situations, you could work with them and be able to integrate it as what would be considered your own tool from that standpoint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
and you can embed it into your own portal or your website via IFrame. So again, any which way you guys would like to go about sharing it with either internal employees or external clients, you're able to embed it. So when they log into your guys' either intranet or a website, et cetera, we're able to use single sign-on, Active Directory. So basically, the look and the feel doesn't go away, and we're able to pass the parameters, which makes the setup very, very much easier than doing it kind of manually one by one. We're able to go take all of that and truly embed it into your organization solution, which again, it's just very professional and very sticky.
Awesome, awesome. And so I did a very light integration in terms of basically all I did was, created the dashboards, linked the data, and then set up the URL. And then it opens up inside Alpha. And if I didn't have that one bar, it would look like it's a internal dashboard with the Alpha tabbed UI. But there's many other ways. By the way, I didn't show it, but within actually when you create UXs, just as a little tip for folks who are doing UX stuff, I'm going to go ahead and create a UX real quick. And let's do an example of that real quick. I'm just going to grab this. I just wanted to show you that I used a tabbed UI because it was quick and dirty, but I'm going to go ahead and put in a panel layout. And I'm going to go ahead and add a panel card and another panel card. And one of the cool things about panel card is that the panel card type is called default, which is the default measure, but you can also use what's called a iframe panel card type. So this is a UX, and I'm saying in that panel card, I'm going to go ahead and display a URL instead of content. And now inside this one, I'm going to go ahead and let's say I want to go ahead and put a list control, or I want to put something else of my own. So I'll just put a static text here and just say alpha stuff. Okay. So now what's kind of cool is when I go to live preview, you're going to see what it's going to do is in the first panel card, it's just going to take that URL. And if all goes well here, it's going to render that external URL or URL on your site, wherever it happens to be, into that left side. And then I have my alpha stuff over here. And so you can integrate it both at like the tabbed UI level. You could integrate this technology in the UX, which then would allow you to have other actionable buttons here. There's also an API that comes with it to do, there's Zapier integration, other things. So you can kind of talk back and forth with the ClicData system to say, oh, I need to refresh my dashboards. They have auto refresh where it'll like pull data on an ongoing basis, but you can also trigger refreshes of their data. Like if there's a bunch of data changes, you can say, oh, first ClicData, do the refresh and then display these. So there's a lot of cool stuff. And as you can see, now that I'm on UX, I have a much better visual. I can see a lot more information and these and be able to show it there. So you're not limited to just a tabbed UI to do these kind of tricks. And just as a general trick, if you ever need to embed a frame, you can just use a panel card as a frame. There is actually I think it's in containers. Nope, in other controls. There is an iframe control here, but I tend to use panel cards because then they lay out on the screen much nicer. Plus you can do things like create a nice little panel header with a control bar, go into that control bar, and then what I could do is I'll load a sample one, and I won't spend more time on this, but just want to kind of show you what we can do real quick. So now in my working preview, I can have my own little pre-made dashboard where I can have this, then I have a drop-down menu, but guess what? These menus could say load a different URL into this panel, and then it would show a different panel, or maybe I have hidden panels with that URL already in it. So you can use all the cool powers of the UX along with the external power to kind of provide a really cool looking front end for your clients and for your people there. So that is ClicData and Alpha. Eric, thank you so much for joining. Eric's going to be online, so if we have questions for people, would like to do that.
We do, in
And
fact,
also, Eric, I think there's you guys have a webinar coming up on white labeling or something. I thought I saw on your website.
Yeah, we do tomorrow, and I will gladly share that with you. It's going to be our CTO, Tomo Silva. We'll be hosting it, and it will literally speak to kind of everything that we were talking about today. So kind of a great segue. If any of anybody that's joining here can definitely go learn all that is truly white label and OEM solution within ClicData, how they would go about embedding it into their solution, both for internal and external purposes, and go from there.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us, Eric. I appreciate it. I'm going to kick it back to Dave.
Excellent.
Hey, Dave.
And we do, in fact, have a question, I believe, for Eric, and it has
good.
to do with security. That's always a big question here. And since ClicData is processing, data, which is sometimes sensitive data, over the internet, what can you talk a little bit about how data is secured, so that people feel a little bit more comfortable about using it?
Yes, absolutely. And as a director of sales, it may not be as technical as some of the people on the line are much, much smarter than myself. But we work with the Department of Justice, the DOJ, DOD, and a lot of people in the medical industry. So we are HIPAA compliant. It's encrypted both in transit and at rest via the API, and we are kind of going to let the cat out of the bag a little bit, but in the very early stages of creating a native connector for Alpha and the transform, so that we don't have to use the web services, although the web services is great. We're going to go create a native connector just to make everything that much more smooth for the partnership. But for the hospitals and financial sectors that we work with, we're as secure as we could possibly be. We're on the Microsoft Azure platform, and when I send over the link for the webinar for ClicData tomorrow, for anybody that would like to join, I will also send over the security trust documents from our trust center on both ourselves and Microsoft Azure to hopefully put everybody's worries at ease, or just know that we are as secure as you could possibly be for being cloud-based and obviously managing your data with you.
Great, excellent. Thanks very much. And so just from a connectivity point of view, like let's say you have your data, someone asks it in a cloud SQL database or even on-prem, how do you get the data over to ClicData? Is that done via an API call, or is that the preferred method is that how it's done?
Usually, yeah. So, and I think Dion might actually be able to speak a little bit more intelligently about this, just because he's been so active within the system. But yes, we do it via API or our native connector. We connect directly to the database, or via a data loader outside of the firewall, or in front of, if you will. And I'm not sure if I'm explaining that 100% correctly. But it's 100% read-only. It's a clone of the data, so that when all of the data gets to ClicData's or your portal, your data warehouse within the ClicData platform, you're slicing and dicing all of the data. We take snapshots of what you're doing within ClicData. You set those frequencies also, but it's never going to harm or affect the production side of the server because of the read-only or the clone of the data going there. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Thanks very much.
Cool. Thank you.
Right. Now we have a question that doesn't have to do with business intelligence or ClicData, but has to do with the control bar. So, Dean, are you ready?
Oh yeah. Let me. In fact, I created a control bar. So
did you really? Excellent.
I didn't peek at the questions to let everybody know. Don't say that. Actually, that's kind of cool.
Are you sure?
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Should we like getting the questions ahead of time? That's ideal, actually. Send them ahead of time. You'll probably get the right answer.
No, just when you add a panel header, just to let you know, is when you have a panel layout and you say panel header, one of the options is that it will automatically include a control bar. And now that you have a control bar, it's already put in there. So that's why I was there. Didn't peek at your question.
Excellent.
Not a Russian agent peeking at emails or something.
So this has to do with this person. Actually, a little bit of help would be helpful here. But so it's a control bar question, and it has to do with button styles. And he's using an example of conditional styling. So if a variable is equal to 1, then the color should be red. He's using sort of that template styling that's available in the control bar.
Ooh,
and
okay.
the issue is that it's not working according to their example. And and just wondering if we
I
could
might have to
take a
bump
peek.
that over to Sarah just because I haven't personally spent much time on the styling of buttons in there.
Excellent.
The extent of what I've been able to do is add buttons by,
Okay.
adding control bar items. So you add a control bar item, you say button,
All right.
and then you can specify the type of button, whether it's just a text, an image only. And let's say I want to do an image only button. And you'll see there's defaulted styles, but you can override those. But then you can select the icon you want or the buttons, what you want it to be on that button.
Yeah.
So I'll just go right there. So now I have a button on my control bar. I can go to my layout and just say, oh, you know what? I want my button to be over here. I can double click on that and add that button in right there. And now you'll see that it's showing my little brush. Now, I believe what's going on is this button may change color, look, and feel based on, I guess, other activities. Now, I do know there's a couple different ways to handle that. One is, which I think he's talking about, is that you can have conditional style.
Yes.
But I'm not sure how, golly, I apologize. I haven't done anything in terms of dynamically setting the style with that. But I do want to explain this. Let's show this. Okay, I'm going to go into button. Another way to handle this, just to let, I don't want to complicate your situation, but let me just show you this. Let's say I have button 1 and I have button 2. Okay, and I'm going to go in button 2. I'm going to make that also an image. And in that case, the icon is going to be, I'm going to look for my brush, but oh, it's the magic brush. Okay, so now I have 2 buttons. One button is has a regular. I'm going to go to my layout here. And in my button right here, I'm going to go ahead and add my second button, which is my new button. So you'll notice at this point right here, I have 2 buttons. They look almost identical, but they're almost the same. I mean, they have a little different style. Well, what I can do, which is kind of cool about this, is that I can go into my items here. I can go to those buttons and I can say, what is the show expression? So I'm going to actually just do it for now. I'm going to say 1 equals 0. So don't show the first button, but show the second button equals 1. Now I go in here and I look at this. And, oh, what happened? Did I do that? Oh, it might be a working preview thing. Let me go back in there. It's giving me an error. Oh, must have done something to miss. Apologize, everybody. Let me try this and see if it gives me the error here too. Oh, I must have done something a little, I'm trying to do it on too complicated of an item here. But what you can do is these items can be show height expression. And so long as it goes to true or false, you can do it. So let's just say this is true. Let's try that. And this is false. Instead of doing it that way, see if that, maybe it just doesn't like my expression the way I set up my expression. But that could be JavaScript. That could be a data element shown in the other part. Okay, so notice up here, I've got my little only one button showing right here. And it's the magic brush. Now I can go back into my control bar. And again, this is the hard-coded method. I can go back here and I can say, okay, let's make that true. And let's make this one false. And now I can go into my live working preview again. And you'll see in this case, I've got the not magic button. Now, obviously, you're not going to hard code that. But what's cool about this is this show height expression here is an expression that could be, and I'll open it up here, this could be a JavaScript test of other things. So it's a JavaScript expression that ties there. So you can do, so one alternative, just to let you know, is instead of doing a conditional style on there, you could actually, preset your styles, especially if you don't have like a bunch of them, and then you just show and hide the buttons as you see fit, just throwing out an option. But Sarah might have a little more information in terms of the doing a dynamic styling for it.
Okay, yep, sounds good. Yeah, we will take a look at it. We'll get the answer.
Yeah, and again, if we can't answer it here, we'll follow up. Send us an email at guides@alphasoftware.com, and we can dig a little deeper in there and get to that.
That sounds good. Back to dashboarding question, and this has to do with back to ClicData, which is, does the dashboard and charts support drill down features? So if you wanted to say click on a map and you wanted to get to France, can you then say which region of France and say which product in which region of France, that kind of thing?
Yep, absolutely. You can have it either when you double click on it, you could have it spawn an entire new page or a new dashboard to show further visualizations of said data on a drill down basis, or you could pull up the raw data depending on how you'd like to do it, but absolutely very easy to accomplish to get down to the most detailed data that you want, whether it be by region, rep, whatever you would like to see in the organization, very easy to accomplish.
Yeah, okay, great, excellent.
Yeah, and they have, just to show you where that's at, is that in here they have something called interactions. And if you double click on
look at that, yeah.
You can do, and again, that's kind of, I mean, I took to this very closely, and the other reason why is it's very alpha. Think about that. I've got a widget, a control, and then I open up my properties, and they've laid out their properties this way, like, you know, what do I want to name it? Where do I get my data? Do I want footers? Do I want sorting? So it's very much like a grid builder kind of concept. And then the interactions are there. So if you're in alpha, you'll be able to take to that pretty well. So just to show you an example of that real quick, is let's go ahead and go in here, add this, go here, and we'll go ahead and select our customers data. Come on, there we go. We'll go company, city, and sales, year to date, interactions. Let's go here and let's display record.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now it shows me that preview data since I don't have any filters or anything like that on it. Cool. Now I can actually show what it's going to look like on a desktop. And if I double click on it, you'll notice it's opening up a detailed record view of that information.
Nice.
So you've got those kind of drill down capabilities, but I would probably link this to another dashboard so when I do it. And by the way, one thing I also kind of cool about these is that they're also mobile centric, meaning they look, you know, they'll rescale them, they're responsive. So these dashboards will look good when you pop them up on a mobile, you know, most likely you'd be on a tablet kind of interface. But, you know, they look pretty nice on tablets and mobile. So if you want to deliver yours, not only just, and they're not offline, but they're, you know, if you're just connecting, someone's out in the field and wants to look at a dashboard, they can look at it on a laptop and it'll look, or a tablet and it'll look good.
And conceivably, you could also
it auto sizes to all of the different OS. So when you're building the dashboards, once you click it, whether you're viewing it on a cell phone or a tablet or a computer, it will auto resize so that you're getting the best visibility to what your data is.
Nice. Now, do some people also create separate dashboards for mobile devices? Like you might say, well, this is a mobile device, so I don't necessarily need every single column, you know, that kind of thing.
I guess that would be up to the designer of it, to where you could do it. But like Dion had showed earlier on in the webinar, when you're using the tabs or the buttons on the side to go spawn that, in a sense, you could go create our mobile site so that it's less cluttered because it's going to be littler, right? If you're looking at it on a 6-inch screen opposed to a 32-inch monitor, you might want to go clean that up, which is why I love what Dion did, and it's one of my favorite examples on my website, is to use the button or the tab feature on the left-hand side or the top side so that you're able to then go navigate on what you want to see, but you could definitely go make one that is very mobile-friendly and just your top 2 or 3 KPIs, and that's all you want to see. And then you could just put the scroll function in to where even if you have more than 3, you're just scrolling, but you're looking at it the most clear you could possibly be doing via the mobile solution.
Yeah, that makes, I like that. Cool. I'm not seeing a lot of other questions, which means you guys probably did a great job explaining everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
that was a nice
any
compliment.
questions? Yeah.
Well, you know, when you're doing business with this guy, like Justice League, it's like it's kind of a less strong Justice League is what we are with fewer superhero powers.
Right. That's right.
It's like
So I'm not really seeing a lot of questions. That means either we could go home 15 minutes early. Wow, we haven't had to do that in a while.
Oh my God.
It's kind of fun actually. Or someone else can ask.
We got a lot of work to do. We're still tying up everything for the upcoming DevCon. We got stuff to do. We're going to make that a bang up event.
We are. So you know what? Here, this is actually a fun part. For those of you who are still with us on the webinar, of which there are actually quite a few of you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
The subject of dashboards in general, how many of you have built out dashboards or something like dashboards, either in Alpha Anywhere or even in some other system? Can you let me know if you've done that. And also, can you let me know if you have some upcoming plans to do that? Because I just want to sort of keep a pulse on what folks are interested in doing.
Yeah,
So
very helpful for us because,
one
we
person-
kind of,
Yep.
oh, I'm sorry. It helps us drive back into development. What are the challenges you're seeing? What are the things you would like to see in it to help us, make it easier to integrate third parties, but also, charting and things like that.
Good. I'd hate to think that we did 4 of these sessions and no one wanted to do anything about it, but it looks like actually quite a few people are very interested in this subject. So,
Oh, good. Excellent.
For sales,
Yes, that's wonderful, and
reps,
definitely helps ClicData out as well. If they're helping Alpha out, Alpha's obviously going to come help us out. So again, thank you guys very much for the invite. Looking forward to sending you over the security documentation and the webinar info for tomorrow. Sorry to cut you off there, but definitely wanted to say thank you guys for everything you guys are doing. It's absolutely fantastic.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you, Eric. See, if you throw up a nice picture of someone, boy, you own it.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
I know exactly. That's
You know I have blonde hair, right, buddy?
You know where your bread butter. Yeah. Awesome.
Good
Well,
stuff.
man, yeah, I haven't had a short webinar in a long time.
Not complaining.
Maybe we should. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
No.
If you guys want a better webinar, or longer webinar, get those questions in for next week.
Yes.
Send them to guides, guides@alphasoftware.com, and we'll cover anything you would like to go over.
And we're looking, again, everybody, I hope you're safe. I hope you haven't been affected by the storms. We really look forward to seeing everybody who's coming to join us at the DevCon.
Looking forward to
We'll be
DevCon.
hanging out and just spending quality time. It's going to be really a good time. We look forward to seeing you.
Thanks very much, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.